Hey everyone, Coach Megan here. Let's face it, pageant competitors like you are some of the busiest people in the world. And unfortunately, you're also beautiful, high achieving, and talented on top of that. Wait, why is that a bad thing? Well, simply put, people like to attach themselves to a train that are already moving in a forward and, dare I say, right direction. After all, it's way easier to push a car downhill that's already moving than to try and move one that is stopped. It's actually little to no effort at all because it's already in motion, right? This is exactly why it's really, really crucial who you select and to select wisely when assembling your pageant prep team. How many people are too many voices? Does my mom count? Do I count? How many are not enough voices? We answer all of these on this week's episode of the Powerhouse Podcast, so let's dive right on in.
Welcome to the Powerhouse Podcast, hosted by sisters, former Miss Nebraskas and a Miss Nebraska USA, and expert coaches Allie Swanson-Mancuso and Megan Swanson-Rhodes. Every Tuesday, we bring you a life-changing, challenging, and activating episode to help high-achieving women win their pageants, massively transform their mindsets, and dominate all aspects of life, including elements both inside and what most consider traditionally as areas outside of pageantry. Allie and Megan coach high-achieving women in all 50 states and beyond, and live to see women conquer their dreams. If you're not already part of our Powerhouse Club, join the fastest-growing group of winning pageant queens on the planet, linked in the show notes every single week. Now, let's get on to this week's episode.
Okay, so today I'm going to be answering all of your questions regarding how many people are too many people on your team, who should be on your team. Oh my gosh, no one told me that I should have a team, and everything in between. Today we're going to be talking about specifically the 5 all-stars that everybody needs when assembling your prep team. So let's get right into this. So by no means is this necessarily a perfect list in terms of, as we'll talk about with number 1, getting right into this. Number 1 is your director. And obviously in certain pageants, you don't have locals where you go straight to state, you go straight to nationals. And this is why actually your pageant team is so incredibly important, more than you probably even think that it is. Because a director, the first thing that they are supposed to do is they are supposed to direct you and guide you. One key differentiator that a lot of people ask us about very frequently is they don't know how to differentiate between a director and a coach. And oftentimes, though directors mean really well, they will go into things thinking or having what's the word that I want to use? Maybe a little bit of a gap between where they want to help people and where their skill set actually lies in being able to help people. And because of those two things, sometimes directors, though they mean really well, will become, for lack of a better term, control freaks in terms of really trying to set all these constraints on their title holder of here's what you can do, here's who you can talk to, can't talk to, and not for necessarily bad reasons by any means, because they're assembling their own team. But where that gets kind of sticky and difficult for local title holders, for example, is if that set of those people and the confines of the constraints of what that local directorship has put up for somebody, maybe isn't getting the results over time that they're looking for. And maybe that director has a bit of a heightened viewpoint of what they think that person is delivering in terms of results, but then you have to please the sponsors, right? When in reality, maybe they've been there for 5 or 10 years and they need a little bit of a switch up. And that's kind of the difficulty with directors, is that they themselves oftentimes don't have all the skills necessary to get someone from A to Z, right? But they have great motivation and they can set up mock interviews for you and they can do a lot of things. But I think that's where learning how to advocate for yourself is really, really important when assembling your team, knowing your values, knowing what it feels like to be pressured into a box, pressured into saying things that maybe you don't mean. And we at Powerhouse have to undo a lot of those things like every day. Girls come to us like from the aftermath of a bad directorship. Again, 9 times out of 10, people mean extremely well. Like they don't have a negative bone in their body. It's just that it's either a control mechanism because they want to control everything and they want to be aware of everything. And my cup of tea is really working with the director in terms of, hey, like we're going to take pressure off of you to be able to work in symbiosis, symbiotically with the directorship, which is a perfect environment. And again, 9 times out of 10, what happens when people bring us in? So that's number one. Number two, and things to be mindful of, like I said, being mindful of, is your director trying to control you? Is your director trying to make you say things or wear things or do things that you don't agree with? Because like at the end of the day, that falls on you most of the time. I'd say 80% of the time, unless you're from a really great local that has sponsors, and of course you have to wear that fabric or, that designer, which I totally understand. But still learning how to advocate for yourself and knowing your personal style, knowing your super stories and things of that nature, where you can still direct the ship. That's your job at the end of the day, or else you're wasting a year of eligibility that is really, 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 you can't afford to lose, right? So that's number one. Number two, I think a really important person to have on your team is whichever of these things I'm about to mention, you struggle with the most, okay? And that is your trainer, your nutritionist, or your mental and emotional health person, okay? Whoever needs to sit in this seat the most. Oftentimes it's all three. We had Megan Bologna on our podcast. She's speaking to our Powerhouse Club later this year as well, who is an amazing trainer and nutritionist who takes care of the mental health side of things as well. She's not a mental health specialist, but she's very good with just understanding hormones and emotions and things like that, which is why we bring a lot of our girls to her and we have a partnership with her inside of Powerhouse, because it is so important to have that person. Your nutrition and your habits are so tightly wound and connected to your emotions that I just don't believe in having to ruin your hormones for the next 10 years of your life, 50 years of your life, because you starved yourself and were working out 3 hours a day. That is just not healthy. We never advise people to do that at Powerhouse, and you don't have to do that to get results. You probably just need to plan a little bit longer. You probably just, need to eliminate the ice cream that you're eating at night and go for an extra 30-minute walk, and you're probably going to be great. That's how I lost 10 pounds doing 75 hard when I was still eating ice cream like every day. I just didn't eat after 8 o'clock, which is where the majority of like my extra calories came from, right? Like I would mindlessly eat an extra 500 calories and not even think about it. And then I was walking twice a day, doing a minimum of 45-minute walk twice a day, sometimes working out and then a 45-minute walk since we have to do on 75 hard, right? Anyways, all that to say, having that person that can be that person in your life, and maybe fitness isn't something that you have to care about in your pageant, or it's not an area of competition, or you're just naturally, the weight that you'd like to be, then having that mental and emotional health person in your life for the ups and downs naturally that's going to happen during pageant prep. Whenever you are in a season of sacrifice, in a season of stretching, in a season of growing, you need people to be able to advise you along that, because you're one person, right? And your mindset and your emotions, I believe, carry a large portion of the foundation, in addition to your faith, of course, that enable you to have the momentum and the passion and the energy, literally the energy, like to do anything else. Mental and emotional health, spiritual health are what fill your cup to increase your capacity and what you actually have to pour out at the end of the day. But if you're not taking care of yourself, you're not going to have anything physical to pour out, right? You're going to be pouring from an empty cup, and then you're left giving nothing to no one. And that is not the ingredients. Those are not the ingredients for a successful title holder. They're just not. So that's number two. Number three is going to be the mom spot. So this may not be your mom. You may not have the luxury of having a mom in your life that supports you, but this could be your grandma. This could be your aunt. This could be someone at your church. This could be your best friend. This number three spot, and these are not in order, by the way. This is actually like in backwards order, probably, of importance, maybe, but you scramble these together as you need to. But number three is going to be that number one person other than you that is not a pageant person. I guess it could be if it's like a mentor that's like an old, Miss Oklahoma, or whatever, and you're going for Miss Oklahoma and she's a friend of yours. That's fine. But somebody that you can vent to, somebody that you can be a human being around, somebody that you can be your non-pageant self around is really, really important. and that you can let your guard down 150% around this person. Okay. So whoever that is for you, maybe you're lucky enough to have two people. That's one of the reasons why we created the Powerhouse Club, is because we wanted a safe haven for people to be able to let their guards down, put their hair in a bun, talk about things, get access to these incredible women that normally you'd have to pay thousands of dollars just to like be in the same room as them. And we give you access to them every single month. There's really nothing like it. So if you're not in the Powerhouse Club, shameless plug to join one of our programs. Okay, so that's number 3. Number 4 is going to be your coach, whether that is us or whether that is somebody else. And this is interview, walking, on stage question, branding, storyline, social media mindset, all of that, which we do at Powerhouse. And this seat is really important because, how can I say this delicately? Honestly, I don't care if it's not me. You'll know after listening to me whether I'm the right person for you or not. And Coach Allie, we're very different, but together we form a 200% person. And it's really, really important to find your fit, because when you're doing hard things and when you're growing, you guys, it's not unreasonable to need a coach for that. When you learn how to play basketball, you don't teach yourself. And even if you watch YouTube video after YouTube video, that's great. But there's something about someone coming alongside of you and holding your hand throughout the process and showing you the right frameworks and the right way to do it that saves you so much time, energy, money, resources, headache, stress. It just depends what way you want to do it. Right. But at the end of the day, you will put your time, talent, treasure where your treasure is, your heart is. Right. And that doesn't even necessarily need to be an amount of money, but it does need to be an amount of intention. And I have seen over the, years and years and years of doing this, that a consistent theme of people who win is people who are able to understand that there's going to be a place that they come to the end of themselves. And then there's going to be a place where a coach or an expert can be the beginning to their end. Right. So they show them a new level of what's possible, a new capacity, in the same way that somebody who, LeBron James could look at someone's shot and tell exactly where it's wrong at a higher level of precision than somebody who maybe has been a middle school basketball coach, right? A high school basketball coach. And that's an obvious exaggeration, not really an exaggeration. That's an obvious showing of a gap. But I want you guys to really take that seriously, of whoever you end up working with. Are they somebody that is just a friend that did pageants, or are they somebody that has put thousands of hours into their craft, refining it and formulating a process and formulating systems that are geared towards getting someone a result, right? So passion, expertise, 2 different things. Do with that what you will. Okay. And then the last part of this is going to be yourself. So this makes me smile, because I think a lot of times we count ourselves in some ways, but we also massively count ourselves out. And we just forget that at the end of the day, other than God, we are our biggest advocate. We're our biggest asset. And are you on your own team? Ooh, that's kind of a deep question when you really think about it. Are you on your own team? The way that you talk to yourself every day, the way that you walk when, you have makeup on versus when you don't have makeup on. Do you treat yourself differently just based off of your external appearance? Or do you know yourself, like yourself, trust yourself, know, all those things, even when you could be wearing your pajamas, right? And I want you to start having those conversations with yourself this year at the beginning of the pageant year, as you're building your team, as you're making your decisions, as you're competing in locals or getting ready for whatever. Are you on your own team? Have you been on your own team in the past? Or do you actively fight against yourself in your mind with self-criticism, with condemnation, with, maybe friendships that you need to trade out? I was just talking with a friend even earlier today. Some friendships are for a season. And especially when you are somebody who has high growth potential, which congratulations you do if you're watching or listening to a podcast or watching a short form on Instagram. You have a high growth potential. And so I was just telling my friend today, you're going to outrun some people that you started at the same place with. Think of a 400-meter race. Okay, you're running all the way around the track. You might have started at the same place, but because of your consistency, because of your habits, because of your mindset, because of who you surround yourself with, because of the way that you're willing to invest in yourself, you might lap her before she's even noticed that you're on a different lap. And then you're trying to encourage somebody and slow down and saying, hey, come on, like run a little faster, let's go. And you're having to waste all of your time, energy, resources, breath, all these things to encourage someone to catch up with you that hasn't even realized that they're slower. Right. And I was just encouraging my friend today. I was like, you can encourage somebody all day, but you can't run for them. You can't set the pace for them. They have to set that for themselves, right? So it's really, really important that we're aware of the people that we're surrounding ourselves with. I wish I would have invested in a mentor when I was like 15. I wish I would have, if I could have known, and granted, this didn't exist back when I was in high school like it does now, but if I could have known that I could have mentors like I do now, like Pastor Nicole Crank and, Real Talk Kim and all these people who I can text and have speak into my life. Like if that would have existed when I was 15 or 18 or 21, do you know where I would be today? I would have worked so dang hard. I would have worked every Saturday. I would have put up more lemonade stands and hustled my butt off. There's so many ways to be successful, you guys. There's so many ways to make money, or just get in the room where it happens. I would have given anything. If I was in high school, I was already the busiest high schooler ever, but summers, you know how much that would have motivated me to nanny more than I even did, just to do everything if I could have known that my age was not a limiting factor, or where I came from or how much money I came from wasn't a limiting factor. I literally would have gotten in any room. I would have done anything that it took to be in the room where I felt like they had what I wanted, whether it was knowledge, whether it was whatever I wanted. For some seasons of my life, it was a physique that I wanted. For some seasons of my life, it was the faith that I wanted. And now that I have that perspective, that's the way that I look at life. That's the way that I treat myself and my goals is, quarterly, minimally, Landon and I get together and we say, okay, babe, what's going on? What's coming up? What resources do we have? What resources do we need? What do we need to have faith for that I don't have faith for yet? What do we need to change? And we make those adjustments because we believe that we can do anything that we set our minds to. For example, some of you guys saw this on my Instagram last week, but I made almost $1,000 in 2 days. I should have tried way harder, by the way. I barely even tried, being honest. And I referred 45 people to something called Gauge, which I should put that in the show notes. I really should. But it's where you can do surveys and you'll earn minimum of $10, and it takes 45 seconds, literally 45 seconds to do a survey. Anybody can do them. Yes, it's real. Nobody believed that it was real. Well, 45 people did because I referred 45 people. And it was a special $50 survey, which I do them almost every day now. And Landon and I are going to Israel in January, which we're very excited about. And we just love to set big, hairy, audacious goals. So I was like, honey, it's going to be about 10 grand for us to go, which is not cheap at all. And we were just like, okay, well, we're going to commit that none of this is going to come out of pocket. None of this is going to come out of our salaries. And this is all going to be new money that we create. We're not going to go into debt over this, blah, blah, blah. And, so that was just something that God brought that opportunity last week and just dinking around. But because I got chosen, and anyways, I've been doing a lot of surveys. Gage reached out to me. They're like, hey, do you know other people with this particular political ideology? And I was like, heck yeah, I know 5,000 of them. So I had a bunch of people who, did the survey and they all got $50. They all earned $50, which made me feel amazing because I love helping people make money. And then I made money for sharing on top of that. And I made almost $1,000. I think I screenshotted yesterday. I had $785 in my account. And I was like, dang, I really should have actually sent an email to my list and tried harder, but there'll be more of that to come. So yeah, I will drop that link in the show notes, by the way, for you guys, so you can make some money too. Sometimes it's taking a week or two to get your profiles approved, but so just hold tight. Some people get approved instantly. When you download it, by the way, and then you sign up, go off of Wi-Fi. I have heard that helps. So for IP address reasons and stuff like that. Anyways, we're majorly off topic now, but all that to say that when you have a goal, you have to be your own advocate. And if you don't believe in yourself and you don't attack that thing and say, for example, our coaching, right? We do coaching in a very specific way. We have very specific frameworks. We know that they work. We're the only people in the world who have the frameworks that we do because they came from my brain and Coach Allie's brain. And we plug people into a system that we're very, very confident in. And it's a life-changing system. It's not just pageant coaching. It is literally a master's in personal development, leadership, and communication. And it's how to become an all-star, and that's the goal. And for some people, they don't want that, and that's okay. And we have different programs that are a little bit different that can still serve the market in a fantastic way, which is awesome. But for our super go-getters who have big, giant dreams and want to win and want to take the world by storm, even more than pageants, then they come to us, but I have to have a certain level of confidence to put together, to coach the way that we coach too. And that's what's beautiful is when I live with that confidence, it draws other people with that confidence. It draws the right kind of client for us. Right. So I want you, kind of some homework for this week is I want you guys just to think about even this week, like, what do I want in life? How am I addressing that? How am I attacking that? How am I digging my teeth into that? And how am I taking steps to say, okay, for example, I want to work with Coach Megan. That costs X amount of dollars. It's not, dang it. Well, that's not how much money I make. And my salary is a constraint and a limitation. What if you just ask the question, okay, I don't know how it's going to happen, but I know I'm supposed to be a part of this and I want my dreams. So I'm going to make it happen. Can I get a side hustle? Can I wait can I be a waitress 2 days a week? Can I do the surveys on Gauge? And that's at least a start, right? So asking the question, how can I make it happen? Maybe your talent's not where it needs to be right now. Well, how can it be? Right? What's the possibility? Well, what could I change? Right? What is in my disposal? What is in my control? Okay, well, maybe I can't afford the gym. Well, while it's nice out, I can go for a walk outside every day. I can go for a run. I can save up to buy some weights at home. And even if they're 10-pound weights, I can, that's better than body weight, right? Or I can lift some things around my house, right? There's always a way that we can make things happen. And one of the things that I think makes our girls so successful that work with us is that we focus on mindset and we build that foundation that stays with you the rest of your life, but if you don't build that foundation, you're building a house on sand with all these pageant skills first, but then you're the nastiest girl who competes, or you're totally in your head and you squeak out a win, but you feel terrible about it because you know that you can't even remember the whole weekend because you were so in your head and you were calling people every 5 seconds and asking for reassurance and crying to your mom, and your roommate hated you all week because you were just a terror to live with, right? Like, is that really living? Like, I mean, yeah, you might have a pageant title, but then when it's done, there's still this empty hole in your head and your heart. And I'm like, guys, like, I hate to break it to you, but life moves on. Like, when you're done competing in pageants, where are you going to find your significance? Where are you going to find your wholeness? How are you going to look yourself in the mirror? And so I'm trying to prepare you very seriously for the things that matter in pageants that will bring you to the top, but also that really matter like in life, because you're a person deserving of worth and happiness, and that has dreams. So make sure that you book a strategy call with us this week. I have like 10 this week. I'm so excited to talk with all of you. I will help you set a strategy for where you're at right now and where you want to go. And let's talk about some of these things. I want to hear about your dreams. I want to hear about your fears and your worries. My number one goal is always to be a safe place for people. And I'm like air traffic control. So on these strategy calls, I'm going to be like, okay, yes, no, you're a good fit for us, or maybe not right now, or maybe, hey, I'd suggest this. Just last week I was on the phone with somebody and we got to the end and it was going great and they're an awesome person. Then I was like, hey, so, I don't, you're not the right client for us right now, but here's going to be my suggestion for you. I'll send you to these 2 people. I'll connect you with them on Facebook. And she was just like, what? You're denying me? And I was like, I'm not denying you. I just, I know what I do best. I know what we do best. And we have a very specific set of constraints for what we know we kick the crap out of. We just had 3 more clients win this weekend. And they won talent and interview and the whole shebang, and it's awesome, right? And I know what those things are. And then I also know what I need to refer out to other people. And I have a whole address book of other people who crush it at that. I do the same thing in business, right? I know what I do really well. I work with coaches and consultants and experts. And if you're trying to build like an Etsy shop online, I'm not the right business coach for you, right? yeah, anyways, I could ramble about that all day. So book a strategy call. It will be extremely valuable for you. You'll get 45 minutes of free coaching with me. So why would you not do that? No cost, no excuse, right? And make sure if you're a listener and you're not yet in Pageant Winner Secrets, make sure you join. We're doing every other week masterclasses now. We've had over 100 people sign up for these webinars. We're cranking out winners. We're cranking out new content, testing new content, different things. Make sure you're on our email list because I just love giving for free. It's why we have our podcast every week. And we have a very, very exciting new video coming out end of September that I'm going to reveal to you our whole new framework. I'm going to lay it all out for you. I've never taught anybody this. I've never coached anybody or not coached. I've never taught anybody outside of the people that we coach with. So very, very, very excited to release this. I've been working on it for a month and a half now, which is just super fun and exciting. So anyways, thanks guys. I was blabbing about this, but I feel like it was really valuable. And we got a little deep today, which y'all know is my favorite. So I'll see you guys. I'm back next week for next week's episode. Then you got Coach Allie for a little bit and then I'm back. So join Pageant Winner Secrets. Click below for the surveys. Click below to join a strategy call. Just do all the clicks. I mean, we're always trying to send you free stuff. So just click away, girlfriend. All right, y'all. I will see you next week. Bye.
Well, thanks so much for listening to this episode. This is Coach Megan, and I just wanted to say it is 2023 in terms of the next pageant season, and we have so many new things going on at Powerhouse. We have a new brand, we have new logos, we have a new website, we have new resources for you, so make sure that you click the link below. If you are not already part of the Powerhouse Club, figure out how you can save $300 per month and $700 overall by joining the best world-class pageant training in the world that you cannot get anywhere else. Intrigued? Click the link below, and we can't wait to see you in that. Thanks for listening to this episode, and we will see you next week.